Hey guys, Probable1701 here, and today we are continuing my video series where we are ranking the Star Trek movies. This, of course, is the Enterprise E Sovereign class. An excellent design ship, a big improvement over the D. This actually looks like a ship made for fighting, which I like. Quite gorgeous. And it's going to help me out today. Today we are looking at movies where we're looking at places 4 through 6, or 6 through 4, I should say. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, check those out. I should put links in the description below for those. But in the first video, we discussed 13 through 10. The second video was 9 through 7. Today, we're going to be looking at 6 through 4. And at number 6 is the 2009 film, Star Trek. This is a good one. This is the only one of the Kelvin timeline that I truly like. It's really, really good. It's a lot of fun. The special effects are nice. I think Chris Pine is great as Captain Kirk. And this is the only one where I really like Zachary Quinto as Spock. I don't really care for him in the other two, but he does pretty good in this one. Of course, the guy playing McCoy nails it. He always does. I don't know why my mind keeps blanking on him. But he always nails it as McCoy. Everyone else is kind of okay as their characters. Not super great, but okay. I like the film. I love the opening shot. Chris Pine is Kirk's dad. I love that whole battle sequence when the Romulan ship shows up. That whole first scene is really well done. Great special effects. I love the fight between them. I love the design of the Romulan ship. It's a really neat design. I really enjoy it. It just looks sinister and dangerous and deadly. And the way its missiles are like one missile that splits into multiple missiles. I mean, you can tell this is a vessel from the future that vastly has you outnumbered. I like the fact the Enterprise gets slowed down a little bit when it's going to check on Vulcan, and when it gets there, the whole fleet's just been decimated, and they're having to dodge all the remains. I actually like the fact too that the ships just don't blow up into particles. You know, there's actual wreckage and remains that the Enterprise has to dodge around. Much more realistic than we normally get in Trek films, so that's pretty neat. I like Eric Bana as the Romulan villain. He does a really good job. You can kind of understand why he feels the way he does since his planet was destroyed, especially if you read the prequel novel about it. Really explains the backstory on that. So he's really good here, and I really get a good feel for his motivations and why he's angry the way he is. I love the fact they got Leonard Nimoy to do this, because Leonard Nimoy is very particular about scripts that he'll do. And I love the fact they were able to convince him to do this. He is wonderful in this film. It's a nice passing of the torch. The scene when he first runs into Kirk is probably one of the best scenes in all of Star Trek. It's wonderful. The music there is great. The soundtrack to this movie is really good. And it's absolutely touching. Imagine if they had managed to keep that under wraps and the trailer hadn't given it away. If they had managed to keep Leonard Nimoy being in this a secret, that reveal could have been one of the best reveals in movie history. It's still phenomenally good, and I love it. But man, I wish they had been able to keep that under wraps, because it's so nice having him in it. And I love the fact that he does the voiceover at the end, the space, the final frontier, these are the voyages bit. I love the fact they got Leonard Nimoy to do that. I'm not as keen on the design of the Enterprise in this one, but it's not bad. It's all right. I'm fine with it. I really do love this one. It's a lot of fun. I love that Kirk is the arrogant, cocky person that I always assumed he was at this age. Nice to see the bit with the Kobayashi Maru in it. Yeah, this one's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Moving up to number 5 in the list. The controversial one that is going to get everybody coming at me with pitchforks. The Wrath of Khan. This is an excellent movie. Make no bones about it. This is a great movie. I think it might be a little overrated, although I do think objectively it could be the best pacing. It is extremely well paced and could arguably be the best paced of all the films. It's really, really good. The soundtrack from James Horner is phenomenal. Really adds a lot to this. I have actually owned this soundtrack on CD at one point. The surprise attack music is phenomenal. The Enterprise leaving music is phenomenal. The Battle in the Nebula music is phenomenal. The Genesis Countdown is phenomenal. The opening and closing credits, phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. I cannot go on enough about how good the music is here. The directing is really, really good here. I really like Nicholas Mears, the guy who directs it and Six. He's really good. Both movies are directed well. I love the red lighting, like when the ship's getting damaged and it's switched to the emergency red lights. Really adds tension to the scene. Ricardo Montalban as Khan is so good as Khan. He's just magic. There's a certain charisma to him. He just seems like a natural born leader. But you really catch the Moby Dick parallels here. And I like the fact that even Khan catches on to the Moby Dick parallels, since he is quoting Moby Dick at the end, right before he dies. It has one of the most notable deaths, I think, in all of cinema. Like, if you're doing a top 10 cinema best deaths in cinema, this one has to be on it with Spock's death. It is wonderful. Two actors at their best pulling this off with Kirk and Spock talking at the end. Very well done. The special effects are really nice. The surprise attack on the Enterprise, the battle in the Nebula, the effects are top notch, especially for 1982. The Genesis, when it's showing the Genesis, the demo of the Genesis planet, that CG technology, really impressive when you keep in mind it's 1982. This is some of the best acting I've ever seen William Shatner do. Because William Shatner, there's good William Shatner and there's bad William Shatner. But when you get good William Shatner, you get good William Shatner. He is just on it this whole movie. And that scene when he's delivering Spock's eulogy at the end is beautiful. That when he's talking about of all the souls I have encountered in my journeys, you look at his face and he's doing so much with his face. You see it kind of twitching in places. And you can tell this is someone who is trying so hard not to just break, who is taking all of his will just to keep himself composed. You see his face twitching and that human kind of comes out. This is a man who's about to break down and cry. And that is beautiful acting on Shatner's part. Beautiful. This movie is really good. I think sometimes it does get placed at first place simply because people read on the internet that it is. But at the same time, it's also hard to argue it hasn't earned it. It is a really good movie. It's really hard to find any faults with it. And the only reason it's at number 5 is simply the fact I love the other 4 more. It is a phenomenally good movie. My only complaint about it is that it has such a reputation for being a good movie that it overshadows the other good movies. Because there are a lot of really good Star Trek movies that sometimes get left out of the conversation because of Wrath of Khan. It's known as the best Trek movie, so much so that even the movies people consider in the number 2 and number 3 spots, it just looms over them like a shadow, and I think that's sad. And really my biggest complaint about Wrath of Khan. And number 4 on the list is The Search for Spock, and this is going to also get me in trouble. I'm putting Search for Spock above Wrath of Khan. Yes, I am. Now, to be clear, Wrath of Khan. The main complaint I have against, not Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock. The main complaint I have about Search for Spock is it does have some pacing issues, which is one aspect Wrath of Khan is most definitely better. Search for Spock does lull a little bit in a couple places. Again, this is Nimoy's, I think, first movie he directed, and he does a phenomenal job with this movie, but it does have some pacing issues where you might be tempted to fast forward a little bit in a couple places. Other than that, the movie is solid. Once again, James Horner has a beautiful soundtrack. A lot of the scenes in this movie, the opening credits, closing credits, I know some of it's just music kind of retweaked from Wrath of Khan. The music from Stealing the Enterprise is one of my favorite instrumental pieces of music of all time. The music that plays during the Enterprise's confrontation with the Bird of Prey, that's good music. The Enterprise's death music is good music. It's a beautiful movie. It sounds wonderful. You get to see at the beginning Kirk kind of grappling and dealing with Spock's loss and how it's affecting him emotionally. That's nice. This movie also ranks pretty high because it literally has my favorite movie scene of all time, my favorite scene in all of cinema ever, and that's when they steal the Enterprise. This is a perfect scene. I absolutely love, again, the music here is great, the directing here is great, the actors are here great. When they steal the Enterprise out of space dock, everything from when they first break McCoy out to when they get away and Scotty's talking about easier it is to stop up the drain. Everything from one to the other is just perfection, and it's my favorite scene ever in a movie. And I also truly love the confrontation between the Bird of Prey and the Enterprise. That whole scene is really well done, and probably another one of my top 10 favorite movie scenes of all time. It's really good. that bit when William Shatner steps back and falls out of his chair when he learns David's been killed is a beautiful piece of acting on Shatner's part. Shatner does a really good job in this movie for the most part too. There's some hammy scenes in the fight scenes with Krug at the end, but here he is on point. And that bit when he falls back and misses the chair is a beautiful touch. Really well done. It's easy to see a man who's just hit with grief. The Enterprise being destroyed. This is the only time I think the Enterprise has been destroyed that is truly iconic and truly sad and really moving. Unlike other Enterprise deaths, this one hits me every time I watch it. I feel like losing someone I care about, or losing. It's like watching Spock die in 2. It has that emotional tug at me, watching it fall out of the sky and burn up in the atmosphere of the planet, and Kirk's line about "what have I done?" It's all that is beautifully done. Christopher Lloyd is great here as Krug too. Keep in mind this is about a year before he did Back to the Future and Clue. So while I think he was still already known as a comedic actor, he hadn't quite hit that status of comedic actor yet. And I don't care. He's great as the Klingon in this. I've heard people talk about, they pick Doc Brown as a Klingon. Yeah, but he's great. He's perfect. He's cruel. He's evil. He's wonderful. I love him. That bit when his gunner accidentally blows up Grissom, and he's like, it was a lucky shot, and Krug's just like, boom! I love how he doesn't even say anything. He just shoots him. I absolutely love him in this. And John Larroquette has a nice little cameo in this too as a Klingon, which I like. I love the fact that they kept Leonard Nimoy's name out of the opening credits except as director, so you don't know if Spock's actually coming back or not until the end. And that whole scene at the end with him and Kirk talking is also magic and beautiful. Jim, your name is Jim. Yes, I absolutely love that. I love Search for Spock. It's easily, it has the reputation of being the only kind of Prime Universe odd-numbered Trek movie to buck the trend of odd-numbered Trek movies being good. It does have that reputation as being the one you want to watch if you're watching an odd-numbered Trek movie, but I think it deserves even more credit than that. I think it's a really good Trek movie just in general, and I absolutely adore it. And, yeah, that looks like the ones we've covered here, number 6, number 5, and number 4. We should be back for part 1, where I will discuss my top 3, which are all even-numbered movies. Because Search for Spock is my favorite odd-numbered Trek film. Check out parts 1 and 2 if you haven't seen those yet. Do some other fun stuff like click that like button, subscribe button, and that bell for notifications. Stay up to date with everything else I'm doing. Let me know. What do you think? Are you ready to stick a fork in me because I put Wrath of Khan at number 5 and put Search for Spock above it? What do you think of the Search for Spock? Let me know. I also have a Patreon page I've started if you would like to contribute to that and make video requests for ideas. But most importantly, stay safe out there. Thank you for watching.